The real reason why people round the backs when they're deadlifting. And how to fix it. So why most people round the back when they deadlift is because the positioning is, it's either the positioning's incorrect or the load's incorrect for the skill level. Sounds pretty simple. But the big thing for me that I see is positioning. And I'll show you a big error that I see loads of people doing. And I'm doing this video actually because it's relevant to one of my newer clients at the minute who we're trying to find that sweet spot on his dead. Well, we found it, but we're trying to make him aware of it and how to execute it more consistently. So big error that he's doing at the minute is the typical trying to protect the back position where you're squatting down too much, and to a lot of people this might look like a nice deadlift, nice position, bar over midfoot, neutral spine, all that shabazz. But the problem is this position here, there's no it's not going to be scalable to bigger weights, and that's why if this looks like your deadlift when you're deadlifting 30% of your max, and you think, oh, my technique's excellent, and then when you go over 60 or 70%, you get pulled into this kind of that position there, and you just think that, oh, look, that's you and that's your fate. Why? No, it's your positioning's. Your positioning can be improved a lot, so it might seem counterintuitive to a lot of people, but the fix is actually in the hip position. So with people who are setting up down here, I don't know if you can see that well from the camera, but my hip position's quite low, and if you look at the backs of my knees, it's quite bent, and there's no, therefore, which that results in like a lack of posterior tension basically. So basically you're just relying on that anterior or the front side to drive through, which is great until you run out of strength doing that, which for a lot of people will be like 60-70%. Some people even less. Some people will be basically running out of strength from the front side where it goes, oh, and then they get pulled into that position where the reason why the hips shoot up and you get pulled into that position is actually because you're putting your hips in a position where there's tension at the hamstrings and glutes. So what I'm saying to you is we should endeavour to learn how to set up nearer this position to start off with, which is a skillful thing to do. So, as I say, it might seem counterintuitive to people who want to protect the back, yeah? But actually what we're doing is embracing a higher hip position, shoulders a little bit further forward like this. And this position here, or near enough this position here, I can actually feel in my setup position there, not only am I ready to push in with the legs, but I can actually feel tension at the hamstrings, and if you can't, just think about, imagine you've got a piece of string here and you coccyx and somebody's pulling you back towards the wall behind you, and if you imagine that you're being pulled, you should almost feel like a tightening sensation at that posterior chain. And if you learn how to do this, tighten this, create tension at this posterior chain, you're going to be a lot less likely to get mauled into that. But when suppose the energy from the leg drive runs out a little bit, you're going to be a lot less likely to get mauled into this like horrible like rounded back position. And I say horrible rounded back position specific to that example because I'm not a fan of rounded back positions when you haven't set up with that position at the floor. So i.e., if you're setting off with this position and then you get pulled into this tap back position as you create the tension, your hips rise faster than your shoulders, and your back rounds that way, then I think we're running an unnecessary risk for most of us if we're doing most of our training in that position. But, like I've said before, some of us are suited to we're actually really strong in quite a flexed upper spine position. So a lot of us will actually have a great success if we actually kind of embrace this thoracic or upper spine, like kind of rounding. It doesn't have to be rounding, but it might be your neutral position. So if you kind of get this position here, get your hip position right, and kind of lock in that upper spine, you might actually think that that's actually a really strong position for you, and just note that that is completely different to somebody who's setting up like this, and then they're not strong enough to lift the weight that way because it's so inefficient, and then they get mauled when they create the tension into the hips rising and back rounding. So like this, when they set up with this beautiful technique, or so they think, and they go like that. So if this is you, this is how you fix it. What would say to you to do in your warm-up sets every time you deadlift? Go around 25 to 30% of your max. So for me, 100-ish kilos, that's absolutely fine. And what I'll do with every time I lift 100 kilos as a warm-up, and this might sound weird, and you might not have heard this before, but what I actually want you to do is focus on staying relaxed in your torso, rather than bracing, and rather doing these cues like engaging your lats and pushing your ribs down, like creating loads of tension. Actually create as little tension as possible, because we've accounted for the fact that you don't need to produce much force because it's only 25-30% of your max. So what we can do here is just make these, keep relaxed, keep chilled, and actually have a bit of a play with the positioning, and rather than like creating tension to like kind of make the lift feel easy, actually we're taking the creating tension out of it. So what you have to do is make sure that your positioning is absolutely brilliant. So I'll just do a couple of reps here. So this position here, if I stay relaxed, which you see a lot of people trying to do, even with this light weight, I can feel myself being pulled forward. So what I'm going to focus on this time, I'm going to focus on hip a little bit higher, hinge it, like focusing on my hip hinge, not just bending forward to it, and just see if I can find a sweet spot, nice and chill. That just like actually felt weightless, like the bar path was so much better, the hip position was a lot better, just subtly higher, and therefore the bar's a lot easier to keep closer to mid-foot because you haven't got your shin moving it out of the way. As you drop your hips, you can get the leg drive, blah 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 blah. But basically, I've just given you an idea that what you can do, like every time you deadlift, like as you're building up, like actually try that cue of keeping relaxed and let how difficult that feels and how difficult the bar moves be the indicator of how good your positioning is. So I see a lot of videos going around, which I don't disagree with stuff like with people's hips shooting up. Think about it. When people say, right, engage your lats to keep the bar close and pull the bar in and stuff like that. And yeah, this is great, but for me, like I've said with other exercises, that creating tension and stuff should almost be like the icing on the cake that's gonna, basically what I'm saying is that if you're having to pull the bar in close to you with your lats, you're almost your positioning, if you're positioning bang on, you can just get that vertical bar path and then almost use the lats as icing on the cake.